As the baby bulls strap in and strap on to deliver maximum magoo to the motherless bears, are there really any signs that Bitcoin is truly bottomed? Some analysts would say no. But there is one thing that is big, potentially too big. I'm your host, Buster Biggums, and sometimes you just have to dive on in and get a little messy. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit like, subscribe to miss these absolute time-sensitive alerts. As well, guys, be aware of all of my scammers out there. I have one Twitter and one Instagram, and they are both below, and every other account that might message you is fake. So I will not be messaging you. If you get a message from me, it's fake. Don't send them any crypto. And as well, if you're interested in any bonuses or any deals, make sure to check out everything below. Make sure to drop your comment below as well. Without any further magoo, let's magoo. Unnecessarily big. So with Bitcoin here, we see an absolutely ginormous 3% candle on today, or on today's Bitcoin charts. So this is very big, and we're going to be getting into this as well, as Bitcoin is doing something potentially very interesting. But a lot of things first. So no signs Bitcoin is bottomed, as data warns Bitcoin price downtrend is continuing here. So traders not really interested in longing Bitcoin below 38.5, where we sit at this very second. Might change by the time the video gets uploaded. But with stocks giving relief to the bulls, many believe that, or many remain hands-off on Bitcoin, while higher levels near 40K have not been challenged here. Just because the stock market is having a little bit of a pump doesn't necessarily mean Bitcoin's in some sort of absolute massive reversal, right? That's not the case yet. It's possible, but it's not the case yet. Pentoshi on Twitter said about bidding around 33 to 36K for long positions here, but losing 33K on a high time frame basis and cut it, basically. So again, it's still a lot of mixed signals here. Nothing completely definitive yet, but there is potential for upside, which, a week ago is something I think a lot of people would have thought, impossible. But he also does state here that there's really no signs yet that Bitcoin is bottomed. And even back in the summer of 2021, even though Bitcoin technically bottomed around 30K, it took many weeks, multiple months, and even slightly going below those levels, even though right around that same level, before any sort of pumpy move to the upside here. And macro levels, according to the volume profile here, the VPVR, 27K, a giant level of support if 34 would break. Obviously, 30 is also much more important, because if we break 30, then we're setting a lower low on these macro timeframes, which is just objectively not good. And as well, this is something we've been watching for a while. The weekly MACD for Bitcoin tells one story, and we can look at that here, right? Potentially, after getting this cross a couple of months ago, in the middle of kind of towards the end of November, Bitcoin did initiate and continue dumping. But again, at this very second, potentially the MACD is signaling that maybe, similar to the summer, we could reverse and have a multi-month uptrend. But what this article talks about is the monthly MACD, which obviously is not showing, it obviously could be perceived as much more bearish. However, it would be silly to just judge the entire market off of one indicator, right? And that indicator is known to have faults to begin with. So the monthly moving average convergence divergence, or the MACD here, crossed below zero, a so-called sell signal indicating a bullish to bearish trend on the longer duration price chart. But with that being said, technicals like the MACD are based on backward-looking moving averages and are less reliable than fundamentals or macro factors. But right now, the macro does not appear to be very good either. And so, yeah, it does seem to align more with the bears. And again, this has more to do with macro factors such as Fed or expected rate increases and liquidity tightening from the Fed, the U.S. Federal Reserve, and also the S&P and Bitcoin have just been completely correlated. The 60-day correlation between Bitcoin and the S&P 500 was virtually zero at the end of 2017. Now it's over 65%. Okay, so we see a continued and increasing correlation of the SPX. We see Bitcoin having a decent move to the upside today, but so is the SPX above the 200-day moving average. So again, basically the point is it's very correlated. And if the stock market would dump 10%, it's very unlikely that Bitcoin would pump, right? It's very likely Bitcoin would also dump. But we do also have the El Salvador president predicting a gigantic price increase for Bitcoin. But the president, Nayib Bukele, is known as the biggest moon boy, the most massive moon boy there is, to be honest. But the IMF did urge his government to remove Bitcoin as a legal tender, and very, very big respect to him for not listening to them. or at least, just throwing a couple memes out there, because what the IMF is worried about risk related to financial stability and consumer protection. The last thing they care about is consumer protection, and they've contributed massively to this instability. So again, it's silly for us to cozy up to the people that are largely responsible for this. So what a silly thing to say. What a silly thing to respect or even consider. Just absolute garbanzo beans 100%. But this tweet does say, there are 50 million millionaires in the world. That's a lot. Imagine when each one of them decides they should own at least one Bitcoin, but there will only ever be 21 million. So again, this is kind of something I'm sure many of you have heard. It's not like some new thing, but it's just, again, why I'm long-term, one little factor of why I'm long-term bullish on Bitcoin here, as well as it is. Tell me a better option. Give me a better option than Bitcoin, because nobody has been able to thus far. But also, Bitcoin price is down 20% so far this year after the worst January since the beginning of the 2017-2018 bear market that began like the third week of 2018. I remember that. It was, I think it was like January 15th or 16th of, maybe even January 20th of 2018, where things got very dumpy, very bad. But at current spot prices of around 36, 37K, it's down 20% versus the start of the year, and compounding misery that began in November because Bitcoin was already dumping the final 2 months of 2021, and now it's down another 20% since this year also started. And so usually November and December and even January have been pretty good months for Bitcoin, but not these past 3 months. They've been pretty bad for Bitcoin in terms of price. But it would be silly to think that Bitcoin is just going to repeat. Remember one thing, if you guys think back, if you guys were in the space back in the summer of 2021, so only about 6 or 7 months ago, you remember what everyone was saying back here. We broke below this 21-week moving average at the beginning of May, and everyone said, well, not everyone, a lot of people that were very bearish said, wow, this is the beginning of the bear market. We're not going to set a new high, and we're going to go back to, it's basically over for the next 2 to 3 years, because when we crossed below the 21-week in the last bear market, or the last cycle, that was the beginning of the bear market. But we did something that Bitcoin did not do last time, which was break back above the 21-week. We held the 50-week right here in this orange line, and then went on to set a new high. And now we've actually broken, obviously, back below the 21 and 50 here. But the point is, maintaining these lows and making sure these lows are higher lows, anything is in play. It just goes to show that just because something happened in the past doesn't guarantee, if it happens again, that what happened last time has to happen again, just because the precursor to the last one happened the last time. So we see Bitcoin giving its third attempt to break this trend line, which it has tried many, many times here over the past 3 months since the beginning of November, as Bitcoin initiated mega dump confirmed after touching on 69, nice, and then continuing a downtrend. Right, we're down how much are we down even? Yeah, we're still roughly down like 44% from all-time highs, and at the low it was like 52%. But we do see Bitcoin on smaller time frames setting these higher lows and potentially looking to break this resistance that's been resistance for the past 10 days. In the short term, that's a good sign if we can just, again, get a little bit of confidence here. Again, we're getting a little bit of a pump as I'm recording. No guarantee it'll be like that throughout the day, but the higher we can go and the more shorts we can get pushed, the more confident, or squeezed out, and the more confident we can get some of this price action to actually start shifting bullish is good. And again, I think a lot of people, what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to be looking at this monthly MACD and thinking, well, this is the ultimate, yep, we're definitely going to dump. I'm not saying it's not possible. Absolutely, it is possible. This could be a signal that signals, yes, this could enter a much longer dumpy trend. But just like last time, things can change. Okay, just like we saw some very key lagging indicators, moving averages, do something last time, it turns out they did not cause the same type of dumpage in 2021 like it did back in 2018. Is it possible that just because, when we got this cross last time at the beginning of 2018, a perfect opportunity for people to be faking out? It's one indicator, and the one thing with crypto is you should never put too much weight on any single one indicator. But with that being said, the global macro environment is the most important single thing right now, and it doesn't look amazing. Let me get the new joke. Absolutely time sensitive as well. If you guys are into bonuses or deals, make sure to check out everything below. Never respond to any scammers. One Twitter and one Instagram. They're both below, and every other account of me is fake. So I will not be sending you a message asking how your trading is going, because they always send that message because they want you to I guess I'm not really sure how they steal from you, but I know they want to get your crypto. Thank you for the